Hi, my name's Matt, and welcome to Matt's Movies. Today we're going to be talking about Dune Part 2, the highly anticipated sequel to Dune Part 1, released in October 2021. And this story picks up right about where we left off. Continues with Paul and Lady Jessica going into the desert with the Fremen, and with House Harkonnen taking control over Arrakis once again. Now, to give you a little bit of insight on my relationship to the first one, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was visually stunning. I thought all the performances were fantastic. The character work there was really, really great. And it just felt like there was a lot of care and craft put into that movie, and I really, really appreciated that. And I gotta say, the early buzz, it was not hyperbolic, it was not wrong, it was not overhyping. This movie is every bit as good as I heard it was. It's a fucking masterpiece, and I am so excited to talk about it, so let's talk about it! Alright, so the first thing that I want to talk about is the most obvious one, like everyone's going to be talking about this. This movie is a visual marvel. Every single shot of this movie could be taken and hung up on a wall as like an amazing art piece, like centerpiece for your house. It is just so expertly crafted and so beautifully shot. Greg Fraser is probably the best cinematographer working today, like right alongside Roger Deakins. And of course, Denis Villenieve is probably the best director that we have working today. So the two of them working together just creates a visual magic. It's incredible what they're able to accomplish. Now, there are more, insane visual scenes to talk about than I can count. But one that I really, really want to emphasize is there's a scene on a planet that's illuminated by what they call a black sun. It's the gladiator scene. And this black sun that they have illuminates the planet in such a way that everything looks like it's in black and white. And they do these just insane transitions where you see someone in normal lighting, and then in the same shot it transitions from that to black and white. And I have no idea how they did that, but it was so beautiful. And the lighting and the setting and the things that they were able to do, taking advantage of the black and white setting, was just incredible to look at, and just like so bizarre and unique and original. It was just so great to look at. Like, I absolutely love that scene. Next thing I want to talk about is the performances. Everyone across the board is fantastic. All the returning cast members still are great. Timothee Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Zendaya, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgard, Dave Bautista, like all of them are at the top of their game here. Particularly Timothee Chalamet, Zendaya, and Rebecca Ferguson. Those three of the returning cast definitely stood out as the characters that had the biggest arcs in the movie and had the best chemistry together. Like Timothee Chalamet and Zendaya, like I'll get more into it later, but the two of them together are just magic. But then you have the newcomers who are, also all fantastic. Leah Sado is always great. Florence Pugh just has my whole fucking heart. She's amazing in everything that she does. Christopher Walken is great to see him in more of a serious role, not so much like, the meme-ified version that he's been for the last couple decades. He's very much like, Deer Hunter Walken here, which was a nice change of pace to see. But like, the standout of the entire movie, in my mind, like the best performance in the entire movie was Austin Butler as Feyd-Rautha. This dude terrified the shit out of me every single second that he was on screen. He was having so much fun playing this sadistic sociopath that also has like this weird honor code. And Austin Butler, every second that he was on, he was just relishing in the fact that he got to play this like psychotic character, and he did it so well. And as far as the emotional core of the movie, the emotional core very much is the relationship between Chani and Paul, Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet, and their romance was incredibly well done. And this is coming from someone who typically doesn't like romances, thinks a lot of them in movies are forced and a little corny. This felt like a very realistic depiction of how a relationship is formed and how it grows, and like the different challenges and conflicts that come up within those type of relationships. I thought they did a really, really great job of making that the emotional center of the movie. They also do a really good job at establishing the Fremen in this movie and showing the different factions of them and their different belief systems, the different accents even that they have. Like, they really do feel like a real lived-in culture that's been around for centuries and has adapted to survive on this very desolate planet. And I think that the way that they showed the way that they survive and how their day-to-day, how they live, was extremely, extremely well done. Now, another thing that I really appreciated about this movie was the use of humor. The first one was a lot more serious. Like, there was like maybe one or two little jokes, here and there in that one, but for the most part, it was a very, serious kind of drab movie, which I loved. I wouldn't have it any other way, but that was something that I kind of wish that they had implemented more in the first one, was just like a little bit more levity. And in this one, they absolutely pulled that off, it's, particularly with Javier Bardem's character. And they found just like the right moments to interject humor without taking away from the story or the gravity of the situation. Now, as far as negatives go, I struggle to find anything wrong with this movie. Anything negative that I'm about to say here, please know, is like the smallest of the smallest minute nitpick. But in terms of negatives, there are certain moments that feel a little rushed to me. Like, there's this one thing that a character is deciding whether or not they're going to do, and it's a really big struggle for this character, and there's a lot of build up to it. And when we finally get to it, it just sort of happens and is over in a couple of minutes. Like, it wasn't bad or anything. It didn't take me out of the movie, but I was sitting there thinking like I was expecting a little bit more build up to that. Also, there are certain characters that I was really into and I really liked, and then they just kind of, appear and disappear throughout, and then eventually are just never seen again. But all in all, like, again, those are minor nitpicks in an otherwise flawless movie. This is one of those movies that makes me happy and excited to be a movie fan. It's something that feels like there was real time and passion and effort put into it. This wasn't a paycheck movie. This wasn't a factory movie made by a studio looking to make a quick $1 billion. This is an artist with a story that he's passionate about, telling it in the most spectacular way that he possibly can, and it was just so refreshing and great to see. And I hope that we get to see part 3. If not, it is a travesty, but honestly, that won't take away from what I feel about this movie, which is this was one of the greatest cinematic experience I've ever had in my life. I got my tickets. I'm seeing it again tonight. I'll probably see it 5 or 6 more times on the biggest IMAX screen I can, because it is absolutely worth it. 9 out of 10, fantastic movie. Go watch it. And that's it for my very first video. I had a lot of fun doing this. Thank you very much for watching. I'm looking forward to more videos in the future, seeing where this takes me. And yeah, that's about it. I'll see you next time. Bye.